Hi, I'm Tara Rayburn, if you don't know me already. And while I wear many hats, the events of 2020 has basically had a business find me. And I saw a great need, and it was something that was in my skill set, in my wheelhouse. And so I went ahead and jumped in, and that's the virtual meeting concierge. And what that is it's a response to what's happening right now. And when I say that, if you're watching this video down the road and life is wherever life is going to be, um, in March of 2020, I live in Nevada. Life changed very much due to COVID-19, and a lot of people had to, whether they wanted to or not, had to go online for meetings, specifically Zoom. My big wheelhouse is using Zoom, and I realized very quickly how many people were uncomfortable with that. And so my purpose is each week, every Wednesday, want to have coffee together or whatever your little drink of choice is. Well, hopefully at 8 in the morning. That's Pacific time. Even if it's Eastern time, hopefully it's not something more powerful right now. Although some people work the night shift. So taken my sip, which is actually a no-no in some virtual meetings, but this is informal, and I want it to be. I want people to come and feel comfortable. I want people to realize that it's not mysterious to be online, and that it can be a lot of fun. And I really want to start with first off telling you or sharing with you why being comfortable on whether it's Zoom or another video platform is important. I recently accepted a part-time position helping out safe management here in the Vegas area. And the exciting thing about this company, Safe Management, they're all throughout the country. They do security for stadiums, for big stadiums. And we are the newest one, Allegiant Stadium here in Vegas. We go Raiders. We just got the Raiders, and we will hopefully be starting a season in the fall, whatever that may look like. I say that because, again, with everything that's happened, we're not sure if that means we're going to have limited people there, but we do know this, that we're proceeding. And so my job is to interview people on Zoom. A couple days a week, I am literally interviewing people for security guard positions at Safe Management for the stadium. And when I say it's important, a lot of I tend to ask everyone how comfortable they are on Zoom. And most of the people, it's their very first time. And so if you are, one, applying for a job, two, using a interaction, an interface, a platform that you've never used before, might that affect how you come across to a potential employer? Absolutely. The good thing is right now, because so many people are first timers, that there's a lot of forgiveness, and there just simply is. And people are actually, talk show hosts are doing Zooms and that type of thing from their homes. Biggest example is John Krasinski, who's doing SGN, Some Good News on YouTube. And he's killing it. And people love seeing homemade signs. It can be very endearing. And in the future, though, or if you have a meeting that's actually a regular business meeting and people are used to doing online meetings, it's important to have a few little tips. So every Wednesday, I'm going to host a Zoom called Virtually Simple Strategies, and I will not be posting the link. So you will either need to sign up for my mailing list. I'll have a link below. Visit my brand new. I have Virtual Meeting Concierge on Instagram as well as on Facebook. And you can also message me here and I can get you the link, but I will not post it publicly. And there's a good reason for that. And if you come and join us, I could probably tell you that. I am going to keep this first interaction with us short. I really want to honor people's time and people who are, well, everyone's in a different space right now. And there's a lot of webinars, there's a lot of wonderful things happening. And I think it's important for me to share in a way that's short, to the point, gives you some tangible to do things, and then you can move on and go on with your day. So that said, I want to honor that because I set a timer for myself so I don't go too far. I'm going to aim at about 15 minutes. And I'm a stickler for that. That's tip number one. I feel like if you schedule a Zoom with somebody, a meeting with somebody, and you have a time frame it's very important. That's one of my priorities, that you try to stick to that time frame. There's nothing worse than being caught in a meeting and it goes on, or it wasn't clearly defined in the first place. The expectation wasn't set. Okay, this is going to be a 30-minute meeting, but if we're really into something, we may go over 15 minutes. When you set that expectation right away, wow, really, really, a very simple thing to do, and it puts your people at ease. If somebody has to go to the bathroom, that happened to me one time. I had to go to the bathroom and I really didn't know how much longer we were going, and some of that was just miscommunication on my part. But it was like, it makes a difference when you know what the expectations are. That's tip number one, is if you are hosting a meeting, making clear the time frame, the parameter, and the expectation. Tip number two, simple, simple, simple. Lighting. While a lot of people are going and buying lighting and things like that, right now, I am doing, let's see, two things. I am using my computer camera, so the quality isn't as great, but that's okay. Most people don't have extra cameras. A lot of people are going and buying them. Try to get one on Amazon right now. It's kind of tricky. And so I'm using the camera on my computer, and I am facing the windows. I see a lot of people who they think it's pretty to have the background of the windows behind them, but what happens is they're backlit. What that means is there's this beautiful light shining through, and then you have this dark shadow. And so it's important that you're the focus of the camera, that you don't have distractions. I recently changed the picture behind me, the painting, because I had a painting. If you've followed me at all or been in any of my Zooms, I had a painting of the Beatles, and it was a great painting, but it was just high enough that you generally would see four guys from here down behind me, which was really distracting. So I would either have to put my camera way up, or way down. And, it was just super distracting. So I took it down last night, actually, and I put this one up. I'm not crazy about it. I might go with a blank background because then I could use my virtual background. That's going to be, why don't we go ahead, since I said it, let's call that tip number three. So we've got lighting. I've got natural light, plus I've got light coming from, I turned on all the lights in this room, and I can even do Zooms at night and have decent lighting. So I'm going to show you real quick where people play with this. I'm going to tell you, it's fun and it can be fun, but again, your background should not take the attention away from you. It's a fun way to start a Zoom. Challenge everybody to create their own virtual background. So for me, if you are on your laptop, on lower left, there'll be a video. And if you came into a Zoom, sometimes that video is off. Whoever hosts the meeting may have that completely off. And so you click the little arrow next to it, and you'll see select a camera. I have FaceTime because I only have one camera, my FaceTime, my computer camera, and then choose a virtual background and video settings. So choose a virtual background. I have already preloaded a bunch, and I'm not doing a screen share right now. I probably should have done that, but I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of a branded background. Now, I don't have a green screen, so you're getting this weird kind of effect because I don't have one flat color behind me, and I'm not lit up in such a way that this kind of weird blurriness goes away. So you can see it can be fun, but it also can be a little distracting. I've seen where two people are on camera and one person goes back and just literally disappears. It's kind of fun, but again, distracting if you're in a meeting. So you can preload all kinds of backgrounds. I have a few that are branded, and sometimes what happens when I'm just a room moderator for someone and there's a fun tone in the meeting, I'll actually go in and put something silly. Okay, that's my timer, so that's telling me I need to wind up. So this is our third tip on virtual backgrounds. Got a Dairy Queen. Shout out to my friend Kim in Vegas, who owns a Dairy Queen here. And I've got all kinds of fun backgrounds. But again, that's great, but you don't want it to be distracting. So generally speaking, have a nice background, something that's not too distracting, and not chances of lots of people moving in. Now, I debated putting this chair back here because my dog, Daisy, one of my dogs, likes to sit back there. And I've had her sitting back there on Zooms before. And if it's a low key setting, people don't mind so much. So while we are in the video mode and winding up, this is third tip on, or actually it'll be, I lost track. You're going to get a few tips. So back to that stop video. This is something you need to preload before your meeting, but you can go into your video settings and you can create a little graphic that comes up. It's nice to have a picture of yourself. And I know some kids who actually put a picture of them or a video of them looking like they're interested so that they can play that for their school Zooms right now, and the teacher thinks they're there. I don't recommend that, but it's very funny. So if I do stop video, now this is just a generic graphic that I have. You can do branded ones, you can do your picture. I always recommend having something. If you don't have anything, basically it'll say your name. And while we're doing that, let's see if I can do a screen share. I'm going to do a screen share, which will be another topic at another time. But with the screen share, start video. I'm not where I want to be. You're seeing my messy desktop. That'll be another tip too. So I'm just going to kind of point you to the direction. You'll have a bar, whether you're on mobile or computer, down at the bottom of your screen. If you take your cursor down there, you'll see participants and chat. I always tell people to open those up. If it's an interactive meeting, if you're just listening to a speaker, it's not always important, but sometimes they ask questions and you can go through questions and there's a series of commands. So while we're sticking with video, what I wanted to share is in your participants, if you click your participants down below, actually it'll be right about here, and then you go over to the sidebar and you scroll over your name, you're going to see what should pop up is mute and more. Now I'm a host, so I'm going to have different options for more, but I can rename myself. And that's important when you're in certain meetings. If you're in a very public meeting, you may not want your last name there. So I'm going to change my last name and you'll see me as just Tara. And so that's a very simple thing to do, and it's also very important. Recently, I'm helping out with a meeting of contractors, and there's different levels that we're meeting at, and it's really important for those people to go ahead and put their names in there so that the trainer knows who has attended, who's there, and it's an interactive meeting, and so they can call them by name rather than phone number so and so. So it is a good feature. It's important to have it. It's best practice to go ahead and put your name, at the very least your first name, and then have a picture that will load if for some reason you have to turn your camera off. Some Zooms, you won't have the option to have your camera on. It just kind of depends on who's running that meeting. So I hope this was of value to you, and I hope you come visit me. I will be creating, I think this will be my first or second post for my new blog, which will be called Virtually Simple Strategies. And I look forward to somehow collaborating, at the very least seeing you in Zoom next week. This meeting will be live, and it's live right now, but I will be inviting people to come to it because I would like to have some Q&A. I think that's the part of value. And so what those meetings will probably look like, those Zooms will more than likely be 15 minutes of some information, and then probably 15 minutes of Q&A. Depends who's in the room. And so all that to say, thank you for joining me, for getting out of my own comfort zone. And I really hope you have a great day. And whatever your skill level is with online meetings, just remember it's not scary. And I tell you what, I've been really grateful for this process during this time where people have been quarantined and not been able to get together. And so the mindset's the biggest thing to change first. So again, I'm Tara Rayburn, Virtual Meeting Concierge, and I look forward to collaborating with you in the future. Have a great day.